Hello, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Samson Pruitt. I am owner and co-founder of Slither Exotics. Yesterday, I made a video and posted about the truth behind predictability of eventual size outcomes for Superdwarf and Dwarf genetics. This video is going to be another one of those things that a lot of people in the industry don't want to talk about. Anery and snow. So Jampia stuff has been coming in as long as anybody can remember, as long as retics have been imported. There have been Jampias that came in. They weren't considered dwarf until later on, and then some of these island localities started to pop up, and Bob Clark found an island which now he says was the island of Kalatoa, and started importing those animals in large numbers. The first group of animals went to Bob, the second group of animals went to Jay, the third group of animals went to Slither. We bought an entire group of the Kalatoa imports from Bob directly off of the plane from Indonesia. The thing about Kalatoa and Jampia is, along with those localities, we discovered a new genetic mutation, and that genetic mutation is called anery. Anery is only proven to be found in Jamp and Kalatoa localities, although we are in the process of proving what we believe to be a new line of anery in the mainland animals that are also carrying the arco-iris or the ocelot rainbow gene. Anery, by definition, is lacking in red pigment. So if you have a normal retic, you pull the red out, it leaves behind nothing but yellow, black, and gray, and combinations of yellow, black, gray, and white. So the very first anery animals were bred into albinos by Prehistoric Pets. Tim O'Reilly and I are very close friends. Tim O'Reilly has absolutely produced more anery than anyone else in the world. Anery was for many years his favorite gene, and he definitely worked towards producing a lot of different anery combinations over the years. When the first purple snows were made, purple snow in retics is a purple anery. The first purple snows were made close to 20 years ago. Purple snows have been around for a long time. They've always been really, really expensive animals because they are Superdwarf and Dwarf, and also a double visible recessive mutation. So as Tim continued to produce anery over the years, he started to notice something. And this is something that he and I never talked about until I brought it up to him. I bought several females that were adults that were sold to me as visible aneries with whatever percentages of dwarf and superdwarf were involved. Those animals all later on turned out to be het anery, not anery. I have seen several dozen animals at this point that look exactly like a snow. There's absolutely no difference whatsoever between the animal that looks like a snow and the actual snows themselves, besides the eventual outcome when you breed those animals to other animals that can give you a definitive number of animals that you should get that are carrying the snow gene or the anery gene. So After I had a few clutches, after I bred these females and they turned out to not be anery, I started to take a really close look at all of the anery stuff that I produced. And what I found was a small percentage of every clutch that produces visible aneries also produces het aneries that are visible. They are no different from their visible siblings, besides that they are actually carriers that are expressing the gene that they carry visually. There are other types of genetics out there that are similar. Citron is the first one that comes to mind. In some circumstances, being het titanium or citron causes you to have a totally different look than you would if you a totally different look and a visible appearance that is notable. So what does this mean? This means that if you've always seen hatchlings in your anery clutches and just automatically assumed that they were anery because they looked anery, they looked like they were lacking the red pigment, they had silver eyes, they had all of the characteristics that anery generally carry, but they're hets. So what this actually means in the long run, besides the fact that there are hundreds of people out there that think they have a snow or an anery that will end up proving to not actually be a snow or an anery. Aside from that, what this means is if you do not breed a proven anery or a proven snow to a proven anery or a proven snow or a proven anery, both of them proven visibles, then you cannot with 100% certainty sell someone an anery out of a het anery breeding. You can't. If you do, you're hiding from the fact that is not consistent and that you cannot definitively tell the difference between a visible and a het in some circumstances. Man, why isn't anybody talking about this? Why? Because they don't want to do what I had to do a few months back when I realized. They don't want to have to call everyone that they ever sold an anery or a snow to and tell them that they may have made a mistake on a very, very expensive animal. But I'm going to tell you something. You should man up. You should reach out to everybody who's ever bought one and tell them that you'll try and make it right if the animal doesn't prove. If you don't do that, if you continue to sell aneries or snows off of a het parent, a het breeding, only one parent has to be a het. If you breed a visible to a het, you still make hets. Those hets can look visible, but not carry the actual visible gene. Stop selling aneries and snows off of het pairings. Stop. You can't do it. You're lying. You're cheating. You're taking advantage of people. And I'm telling you now that you have to man up. Slither is watching.